What's up guys, it's the Actual Justice Warrior here, and today we're going to talk about Ben Shapiro a lot, and it's really coincidental that we are. Okay, so I didn't decide to talk about Ben Shapiro out of nowhere. It just turns out that he's involved in updates to a lot of videos that I've done in the past. Most recently we covered Jody Allard, a feminist blogger. She wrote 2 articles about how both of her sons are potential rapists, and you can see my thoughts about that in this video here. However, the update is that Ben Shapiro actually offered this kid a job, and it seems like this kid is accepting it. I believe it's a paid internship. I want to thank this commenter for pointing it out. And honestly, good on Ben Shapiro for doing that. That kid obviously needed help. He was interested in conservative ideas, and you provided a venue for him to get that help. Okay, so next up on the list is an update to the UC Berkeley story. I've made a number of videos on the UC Berkeley situation. Basically, every time a conservative speaker goes there to speak, there's a riot, and then there's violence, and the police stand down, and it's an absolute disaster. This disaster is compounded by the fact that Berkeley is considered the birthplace of the free speech movement, and now they just shut down anybody's speech that they disagree with. In my past videos, I talked about the Milo Yiannopoulos incident, I talked about the left-wing media's coverage of the Milo Yiannopoulos incident, and I've done a video specifically on the battle for Berkeley. So how does Ben Shapiro connect to this? Well, apparently he was scheduled to speak on September 14th, at Berkeley University, and Berkeley just decided that they weren't going to let him speak. However, they didn't say that they weren't going to let him speak. They just said that all of a sudden, they don't have an appropriate venue for him to speak. This is absolutely ridiculous. Berkeley has hosted a number of speakers, including Ben Shapiro, last year, and now all of a sudden, when they think there might be a backlash from the Antifa and the radical left on their campus, they don't have an appropriate venue for him. Now, what's interesting about this is that Berkeley promises that they will provide reasonable accommodations for Ben Shapiro, and Ben has actually threatened to sue Berkeley along with the Young Americans for Freedom and another conservative organization on campus. UC Berkeley is a state school, and state schools cannot censor free speech because they are agents of the state. Okay, so the final Ben Shapiro story is that this dude is going to debate Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks.
So TYT will be at Politicon this year. The dates are July 29th and the 30th. We're going to get involved in a number of debates. Cenk, who are you debating?
Oh boy, here we go. Buckle up, everybody. You asked for it, you're going to get it. Ben Shapiro.
Why do you look so sheepish?
All right.
Right-wingers have been asking for quite some time. Come and see.
This is going to be fucking awesome. Even Cenk, who's usually like boisterous and confident, looks a little sheepish, like he bit off a little more than he can chew. And if you've seen any of Ben Shapiro's previous debates, you know that that's probably the case.
The median black family worth is just $1,700, while 40% of black families have zero or negative wealth. White family worth, in terms of financial worth, is 69 times more than that of black families. Given this disparity, how can you argue that racism is not a driving factor in income inequality?
Because it has nothing to do with race and everything to do with culture. And when you have a culture that doesn't, you know what? Explain to me. You explain to me why black kids aren't graduating high school. Explain that one to me. Explain to me why black kids are shooting each other in rates significantly higher than whites are shooting each other. Explain to me why 13% of the population is responsible for 50% of the murder. Explain to me why the number of black kids in prison, not for innocent reasons, not for walking down the street and getting pulled into a prison, is so high. Explain, if it has nothing to do with culture, explain to me why the single motherhood rate in the black community jumped from 20% to 70% in the same course of time that the civil rights movement has made such tremendous strides. Is America more racist now than it was in 1960? And if it is, please explain to me how that happened.
The dude routinely goes up against like 4 or 5 leftists and completely obliterates them. So I'm looking forward to that. It's happening July 28th at Politicon. Somebody please film it so I can watch it and be amused by it. I'd really appreciate that. And speaking of the Young Turks, I am going to have somebody from the TYT network, along with some other progressives, on my first live stream, which will be happening sometime next week. I don't have an exact date. When I do, I will make an announcement video. So if you've been waiting to see me debate 1 or 2 or even 3 leftists, it's not going to be much longer. If you like this video, then please show me by leaving a like. If you want to see more content, then subscribe. If you want to support me and support what I do have a PayPal link in the description. Follow me on all my social medias. This has been the Actual Justice Warrior. Till next time.